Hey everybody, it's the Doctor here with Typical Manga Fan, and this episode of the Typical Manga Review is based around Bleach, chapter 656, God of Thunder. And before we get into anything else proper, I do want to ask you one quick question. When you saw the title God of Thunder, what was your first thought?
Thor.
My first thought was, God, he's not even pretending to hide it, is he?
No.
Oh, but at the same time, like as we'll find out later, that was actually a pretty good troll on his part. Credit where it's due.
Um, so yeah, we start up him being a giant basically.
Yeah, Thor
laughing his ass off.
He's Godzilla.
God.
Well, it looks like Godzilla, but due to international copyright law, it's not.
So an Askin is like, oh, it looks like he's unleashed his power, and he talks about how like, oh, he didn't even notice how that Lil was defeated.
Yeah,
Lila.
Tweety. It's pronounced Tweety.
Oh yeah, Tweety. And he talks about the Schutzstaffel, which I don't remember the organization about them, but
well, I think that's the Schutzstaffel are the elites, basically.
Okay, so sad. So Lilo was apparently the leader. Okay, and he was also the first to be bestowed the power of the Shrift by Yuwak, and he talks about how his position was unwavering, ironclad. How disappointing, by the way.
Yeah.
But
well, he did go down to the leader of the Soul Reapers, so I'd say that's about even.
Yeah, but
because I think the other one who would have outranked him was Haswalt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I thought Hash would be like the leader.
I don't think he's part of that particular grouping, though.
He's just the Yuwak's bitch.
Yeah, and he also points out that Pernita and Thor, they were Quincy's, but weren't given any special powers by Yuwak. Their powers had already long been in place. And of all the Stern Raiders since them, all of them since those two already possessed their powers. It was only a matter of time before he bestowed Shrift to them as a recognition of their status, so I guess as a power-up. But of course, and apparently that's why those two always had like identities, like rumors about their identities. So, like for example, there's rumors that Pernita was the Spirit King's left hand, and while Thor was the Spirit King's heart. It says.
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, what part of gigantic, fake thunder god of thunder equals the heart of the Spirit King? I don't. You know what's really funny though is, okay, so if he's the heart. So that means you got the heart. I mean, is that? I thought we were just sticking with lings, but apparently we're going with organs as well.
Yeah. Yeah, which brings a whole lot of other questions about the zombie girl and why she smelled the way she did.
You know what I'll say though is okay. Let's assuming that the heart is probably the only organ we're thinking of. That still leaves the left
legs.
and right foot, right? Yeah, the legs. So I think there's one other, and I think it's Ichiko Kurosaki. I think what I think he is. I think he's the Spirit King's stool, because he definitely acts like one, and he is right now.
And on that subject, and on that precise subject, we find out that Askin has been speaking to Ichigo this whole time, and that Ichigo is face down on the floor.
Yeah.
And chatting to where he may soon join him. Like, yeah. It's so cute the way they try as if they can actually succeed.
But the funniest part is, like, what have they done? This is just even more proof that they're worthless pieces of shit. So hey, they were definitely Ichigo's friends. They are definitely part of the group if they're pieces of shit as well. Ichigo's the Soul King's piece of shit, though, apparently.
Yep, and as Askin does the usual thing of explaining his powers, he can lower a person's resistance to anything within his particular circle of power. And in this case, he's chosen the spiritual oppressor. Basically, he's making them weak to the entire atmosphere around them.
He basically turns into poison.
Yeah, basically turns the air to poison, in other words.
Yeah, and he goes into this long tirade about blah 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 blah. I mean, I don't really care.
Yeah. He does say like he'd make them immune to something that would kill them right off the bat, but he has, like, for example, make them allergic to their own blood, basically. But he would need to consume blood for that to work, and he's got a tummy ache, so he's not going to do it. And at that point, look who appears but Yoruichi, who was nowhere near the circle. So it's like,
yeah,
and she's actually listening to him talk about his powers and coming up with ideas for it.
Yeah, and he compares it to Bambita, which is, of course, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. And then he tries to attack her. She dodges.
He's the Yumi Chika of the Quincy's.
Yeah. he looks like, well, he looks even worse than Ichika. So then he talks about like woman, and you're supposed to have a certain amount of elegance. This is bullshit, sexist stuff. I think.
I think he's just really shallow.
Yeah, he's really shallow, but I'm a little tired of sexism at this point. So where she's just like, yeah, whatever, I'm gonna use, and she uses Flash Cry.
And we see who the real God of Thunder is.
Yeah, and then they talk about woman's value. This is stupid. I'm not gonna even give this a time.
Not even Yoruichi gives. You can just see it in her eyes, like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, so he's like, it's a solemn presentation, which makes me think of the
real quick,
Make 'em Up.
Quincy Bow.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say that. Like, we actually see a Quincy Bow. Amazing.
Yeah, I think the last time we saw it, like, that's actually came up in one discussion thread. Like, was with Ewok's Angels a little while back. The girl Quincy's.
Yeah, I was about to say her name. What the hell is her name? It was the girl with the blonde hair.
I could not tell you. The Glutton.
No, it was the one that yells a lot.
Good. I need to be a bit more specific.
The Thunder one. The one that had an arm. Katniss, cat something, whatever.
Okay.
Katniss, whatever.
Yeah,
She's the one. She's the one who got her arm ripped, blasted off by Ichigo.
Yep. And in any case, like I said, the chapter ends with Yoruichi landing the first critical hit of the battle. Also, you look around. Look in that final page. Look, going along with the fact that she's the actual God of Thunder here. Look around. Look on her shoulder, like the little halo of energy around her.
Yeah.
Like that's like a common thing for thunder gods. Like Enru had it, for example.
Yeah.
The drums he wore.
Yeah. You're
breaking up.
Right. So, and she doesn't have a sword with it though. So maybe.
That does remind me of something that might come up here a little bit later. But yeah, basically, we see the chapter ends. Big old column of lightning. We see something dissolving. We scoff because we know it's not going to matter.
It's not effective.
Yeah.
In Bleach, all attacks, unless it's the last one, is not effective.
And this is the first one, so there's no way it's going to happen.
Yeah. And here's what I'm worried about. Okay, so I've always complained about the woman treatment in Bleach, but especially with the fact that everyone is useless at this point, not even the guys. Most fans, including me, have always talked about how awesome Yoruichi is and how she's like the one who avoids all that bullshit. Now that she's being awesome so far, but now she's in a position where that might not be the case for her anymore.
Because she's the first. Because the way these battles have been going, the first person to fight loses, and someone else has to take over. That's been the trend of these battles.
Yeah, but she doesn't have a lieutenant other than.
Well, we have Ichigo, and actually, one thing I kind of I saw, like I said, it's always been my theory that Yoruichi and her brother are doomed to die. But one thing that pointed out in the Arlong Park is that maybe one thing Yusuke will do, and according to my theory will do so before he dies, will be to get Yoruichi her Zanpakuto if she didn't have it for some reason.
Yeah. So
it would at least give him a purpose.
So yeah, I mean, the chapter's awesome part is Yoruichi kicking ass, right? Like let's face it, that is the awesome part of this chapter. The shitty part of this chapter is Ichigo face down. Now I get it. We want to save Ichigo, and just because he's we want, not only do we want to save Ichigo, but we also don't want him to overpower all the elite guards, right? Because he's obviously powerful. But when you do it this way, it just makes him look weak. The fact that he is down for the like Grimjaw, right? You hyped him up for like 100 chapters, and this is basically what happens to him. You take away so much hype that was already going away, but still there. It just doesn't do justice to the character. I mean,
yeah. I mean, he didn't even have any lines in this there, did he? Like he was just face down, unconscious.
I think he was awake. I think he was just like, go away, don't come close or whatever. I don't know. Let's look back. Let's see. But I mean, it's disappointing. But more so with Ichigo, like he hasn't had a real fight, and so to have him face down be defeated with one attack off screen is a big fu to all of our faces who have been anticipating.
Okay, here we go. Page 9. He does speak briefly.
Yeah. I get it. This is what Legend Core did too. You want to make the villains powerful, but they do that by making the heroes look weak. I mean, I've also said this over and over again in many of our reviews. I'm so sick of it, and especially with Ichigo, because there's so much going on with him. I get it. He's not invincible, but he's also hasn't had like a single fight. This entire thing, every
fight he's had, he's either lost or it's been a curb stomp.
Yeah, so he fought Kyrge, he fought against Kyrge, but that was a lot of it was off screen, and he didn't even win. He actually turned his back on him, and then got put in that jail.
Yep.
2, he attacked Shaz Domino, and that happened off screen. So that doesn't count. 3, he lost against Yua Bog, basically. 4, he got his Zanpakuto cut in half, basically, or into pieces by Ashwald. 5, he comes down, somewhat intimidates the girls, but then he's like, "Oh, you girls, I don't want to hurt you." Wow. 6, and then Yua Bog's like, "Ha! I'm gonna go up to the tower, to the Soul King, at the Soul Palace."
Thanks to you coming down to try and fight me, by the way.
Yeah, so he is distracted, so he gets curb stomped by everyone else because he's too trying to get past everyone rather than trying to fight them. So useless piece of shit. Oh, and of course that's not. Then when he actually gets to the Soul Palace, he ends up being controlled by Yua Bog into cutting the Soul King in half
and bringing about the end of the world. Good work, Ichigo. Good.
What is he doing? What the hell is he doing? I'm starting to get angry now.
Yeah. Like I said, I do want to bring up one small thing on here, at least as far as Kubo goes, because it's kind of a thought that occurred to me while looking at the chapter before. Like I said, we've been poking a lot of fun over the fact that Thor is Thor.
Yeah.
But do you think the fact that it's Kubo is kind of coloring our view at this point? Because here, I'm going to put a couple quick links here in our Skype chat. It's 2 pictures of characters from Rurouni Kenshin. Look at them and tell me what they look like to you.
Let me guess, it's Thor.
No, but it is Marvel.
The Hulk?
I was actually going to say Apocalypse.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And then the other one could be sort of like a Venom or Carnage.
Yeah, okay, but they actually changed it a bit.
Yeah, I mean that's like I said, that's what I was kind of wondering. I was wondering if the fact that we kind of are a bit just a tad biased against Kubo is coloring our view, making us make fun of Thor when the guy who created Rurouni Kenshin created these 2 guys, and I even remember I don't know if I still do, but I had the manga, the volumes for these fights, because this is towards the end of the year, and I don't think it was ever actually animated or not until very recently. And it's he actually points out he is a fan of Marvel Comics, so that's where he got the idea for their designs.
Well, there's a difference between getting inspiration and then just flat out copying, because with the Gerard, it's literally Thor.
If it were just the helmet or just the cape, maybe, but it's both of them together.
Yeah, so he has everything about Thor except for the hammer
and the title. That goes to Yoruichi. Which I have to say, once again, credit where it's due. Good troll.
The first time I didn't even read the title.
Because I just like the fact that for all of our mocking the fact that he looks like Thor, we get a chapter called God of Thunder, and it doesn't even refer to him at all.
Well, that was the point, obviously. But I mean, first off, him being the heart, how is he shown that? How is he the heart? I mean,
well, maybe Kubo's trying to be subtle. Maybe he thought Pernita being an actual gigantic hand was too blatant.
No, not even his shape of his body. I'm talking about how is his personality? Is it his powers? Is it what is it that makes him the heart? You know?
Yeah.
And I kind of feel it's unfair because it's well, I thought we were just going with limbs here. I didn't think we are actually going to the organs part. But I'm assuming the heart is a special type of organ. So I hope there's no brain. I swear to gosh, is that a? Well,
I think at this point I think someone joked about that in Arlong Park, but it's basically if there's brains anywhere in the series, I have not seen sign of them.
That's great. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. But like I said, I do like the fact that the God of Thunder went to somebody other than Thor. I do like the fact that we're at least see Yoruichi in action, even if since he struck the first critical blow, so he's doomed to fail.
Well, if Yoruichi failed, I'm gonna put that into my other bad treatment of woman list, especially if she's saved by her brother. Because I swear to gosh,
saved by the red shirt who was introduced for this arc only, the final arc at that,
and also the guy. I mean, this is
the younger little boy guy.
Yeah, I'm a little again, individually, I let them go if it wasn't the fact that if there's a clear trend going on. It's not just 1 or 2. There's 10.
Each battle, each of these battles so far has been that too.
Yeah, exactly. The woman got saved by the man. Each of them. Yeah. Nemu got saved by Mayuri,
To a point.
then yeah, basically. Well, it was in the end. Mayuri got the credit for winning because he was the one who put the stuff in Nemu, who therefore she blew up. She didn't win. Okay. Then
She
now
Chaozu'd.
Nanao was basically just there to be the one holding the sword, but in reality, it was Kyoraku controlling her, or not controlling, but like basically doing everything but holding the sword. Because and she wasn't even allowed to be good at what she was supposed to be good at, Kido. It had to be a button, an ass pull basically. And so now we have Yoruichi. Oh, no, and then there's the Rikir thing too, where she had to have a brother.
Free here from her own power, basically.
Yeah, that was also bullshit. So now we have Yoruichi come in. I hope she can do this on her own because she had her arm twisted like crazy by Pernita.
Yeah.
So let's not
Of course,
have this.
Orihime should have at least been able to fix that.
Yeah, well, she's out. She's down for count. So.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter right now, but still.
What are those two there for again?
Well, like I said, Orihime is at least a healer.
I like you said Yorihime.
Orihime, sorry. I think I have Mari on the mind here.
That's like a shipping name.
What? We're gonna pair with Yori from inside Mari?
No, like Yoriichi.
Well, that's the thing, Yorihime.
Yeah. Princess Yori. So I mean, like, I don't know. This can go wrong. I'm pretty sure it'll go wrong. I'm so pessimistic at this point because you can't have someone face someone this powerful in Bleach without there being some type of situation in which another guy has to come and help them out. It's just there's no let's fight and actually see who the best strongest person is. It's always and the problem I have is like it's also when they fight it's always there even though it's technically a win. Yep. It's effectively a draw because they're down for the count in the end.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. And of course, I also said the point before, if we have Gerard be the heart, I'm gonna go and say that Ichigo is the stool because that's all he is right now. That is literally his worth in the series right now.
And if that's the case, I'm gonna say Yuak is the eyes.
Oh my gosh, is it the eyes? Is he really? Do you think he's the eyes? Actually, now that I think about it, do you think Yuak is actually the eyes?
I mean, I could see it. I mean, I can see it as a possibility at least.
Yeah.
I mean,
you could see it.
Pun not intended, but I'll take it. I mean, because like, it would certainly explain the whole calling him father thing.
Okay, but then what else do we have? Yeah, true. Oh yeah, actually, look at his face. I mean, he doesn't look like his eyes. And they do point out that he did share his powers too, right?
I think so. Like, and he's trying to take the Soul King's power. Maybe he's trying to become like the full thing. I don't know. And it wouldn't even make sense for Ewok to be bringing together the people who are part of the Soul King if they're around.
Who is the Soul? Here's the problem: we don't know anything about the Soul King, so all this new information is just like a okay type of thing. Jimmy, like, okay, he's the heart. Okay, he's the stool. Okay, he's the penis. What? I don't know what. I can't say I should be shocked because at this point it's like, okay, I'll take any information I can get. I mean, we don't know anything about this guy. And isn't there supposed to be a royal family? Is this the royal family? Is this literally the royal family? Because there was an implication that they were supposed to be with the Soul King. What's going on here?
I know. It's like it's all like just coming apart and being glued back together as we go along here.
I'm not gonna say Kubo's making it up. I just feel like Kubo's just had this idea that he didn't actually write it down and say, does this make sense? He's like, I want to do Quinn Seeds and I want them to be, I want there to be a bunch of parts of the Soul King, like a treasure hunt. How would that work in the storyline, sir? We're only in the Eisen arc. We'll do it when we get there. Okay. I think that's literally how it went. Like he had an idea for it, but I don't think he actually wrote it down and actually said, okay, let's see what we can do here. Because why should he? I mean, like really, why should he? He's making as much money as he can, and with all, and no one's gonna ever. At this point, people are just reading it. A lot of people, I don't say most or even some. I'll just say a lot of people are reading it just for the sake of finishing it because we're all completists. We hate leaving things halfway, or in this case, most of the way through.
I mean, I'm kind of inclined to agree. That's honestly, like, all this time, like, Bleach was always the series I was like least concerned with. Like, I just followed it because it was there and it was like one of the big three. But it's like because One Piece was my favorite, Naruto was up and down for me, ever since
Well,
the fight with
yeah.
Kakuzu. Like it would go back up and down a bit there, but Bleach, it was just there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think the Kakuzu thing was where it went downhill for me, at least. For me, was because I think right after that they were searching for Sasuke, right?
Well, the Kakuzu fight was when they were taking their revenge against Azuma's death.
Yeah. I mean after that. Like Naruto went to go look for Sasuke right after that, right?
And right before that, and probably even during that.
Well,
But I mean, like the first arc with Sai, I think was right before that.
Yeah. Let me put it this way. That was right after the Kakuzu arc where they found Toby. The first they met Toby for the first time.
I genuinely don't remember.
I think that's where that's when they actually legitimately went out to go find him. And so yeah, that was where it went downhill. But with Bleach, I feel like there's no I don't know. It's like he doesn't feel bad for the audience that doesn't really enjoy it anymore. I feel like I don't want him to pander, to just do it to satisfy us. I do want him to retain his creativity. I just feel like his creativity is not there anymore, and I feel like he should be working a little hard to find it back. And I get it. Mangakas have a really hard time, with all this deadlines and shit. But the fact is, when you're a professional, you have to hold yourself up to professional standards, and I don't think that that's there anymore. I think that he, as I said before, he hit writer's block, and it's just kind of ass pulling his way ever since.
Yeah.
Because that's what the deadlines demand, and of course that's money. I think I said something like this before. I said, with Ichigo, I said that he's basically turning to Korra because there's so much hype, but he's losing all the big fights until the final boss, and when he gets to the final boss, it's going to be an ass pull. And and when I expected to go back to the Ichigo fight, I thought that we'd actually see Ichigo fighting and not face down on the ground.
Having the plot explained to him.
Like for example, let me ask you this one question. When you look at that scene, that panel with Ichigo face down the ground, do you think to yourself, "Oh my gosh, this is how"? Do you think to yourself how strong Askin is, or do you think to yourself how weak Ichigo is? Which one is it?
That's very true. I mean, it's like Ichigo's just like you said, he hasn't won a fight this whole arc.
Exactly. So that is the problem with a lot of same thing with Korra, but in this Bleach too, where when you see these scenes, the author Kubo wants you to think, oh my gosh, this is how strong Askin or this whatever Quincy is. But in the end, when we look at the page, we think this is how weak Ichigo is because there's hype, there's anticipation, and so the expectations will go down when we see that scene. That is the question that I will ask anyone for why in terms of interpreting this chapter. So
yeah, and like I said, that's pretty much. I don't really have anything to add to that. Do you have anything else you want to get into before we wrap up?
I will say this one thing. There was people have mentioned that his name is Valkyrie, right?
Which is a female thing.
Yeah, exactly. And remember my joke about him turning into female Thor?
Oh, hey, you're right. He's been a female Thor all along.
Well, actually, people have said, do you think he's going to change gender when he releases it? Because he hasn't released yet. He hasn't gone to Volständig yet. And we don't know if he is, because if he's a Quincy who has powers before, he might not actually be able to do the Volständig power up, because Pernita didn't do it either. But if
they're being linked together in this way.
But if he does, then maybe he might actually change gender. And that might actually fit with the whole angel thing, because aren't angels supposed to be hermaphrodites, or at least some of them? I don't know much about that, but I feel like I know like there are at least some angels that are hermaphrodites. I don't know if they're gonna go that route, with that type of thing. Because there's a lot of religious stuff that Kubo's trying to put in, and I'm not a religious guy, and I don't think you are either, right? So we
had this discussion earlier. I don't give a damn, really.
Yeah, all this stuff
ironically
is kind of flying over our heads. So I don't know, but it will help. It at least would help us to anticipate what the hell Kubo's going to do. But again, let's not even try to do that, because let's face it, Kubo is in some ways both predictable yet unpredictable at the same time. So yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, that's pretty much been our review of Bleach 656, God of Thunder, which again does not refer to Thor. Thor is now Godzilla. He had fire breath. And with that moral in your minds, go take us away.
All right.